Welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. Happy New Year to all our listeners and our viewers. With me today, as always, there's Gary Diamond.
Good afternoon.
And there's Jake Robson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, why do you always start with
It
this?
is actually afternoon.
Why start the new year rattling
You're
our
just
cages?
nudging, aren't you? You're just winding me up already. Come on, let's go.
Come on, Gary. Let's
Play
go.
nice. Play nice. So, gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Happy,
Happy New Year to you. And to you, Jake.
And to you.
Thank you.
Jake is rocking the Hattie New Year. Jake is
my
rocking. Jake is rocking. He's the only one out of the three of us who could wear. I can't wear a baseball cap.
Well, I didn't have a choice because no
we
one was
can't.
ever going to see it if I didn't do it. So, yeah, it's
I
nice.
can't believe you're not bending the pig, though.
No,
We've
I
had this conversation.
We've had a
We're not gonna do
long
it.
off-air conversation about bending baseball caps.
Is it 90s, 80s?
Yeah, it was all the rage in the 80s
noughties?
and
I always
90s.
bend it.
Yeah.
Always
No,
bend it.
no, you don't bend the caps anymore.
I think he looks like Mark Wahlberg. Back when Mark Wahlberg was Marky Mark.
I do know who Mark Wahlberg is.
So got the merch, got the new logo, and as we said last week, we've got ourselves a nomination, a shortlist nomination. That is the old logo, unfortunately, but there you go. Nominated, as we said, for the Sports Podcast Awards, finalist in the Best Team Podcast. There are 11 other podcasts, some baseball, some American football, some football, another Spurs one. We don't need to mention the name because you don't need to vote for it. You vote for us, An Echo of Glory. Go to the Sports Podcast Awards. Find us under Best Team Podcast and stick your vote in. Tell your friends, your family, people you don't like, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, anybody.
The holler maker.
The holler maker. Tell them to vote for An Echo of Glory. And we'll see. And we'll mention you all if we win. We'll mention you all by name.
You all come in.
You can all come in. We'll have a big old celebration party.
There's a link on the YouTube page, is there?
Link on the YouTube page, link on our Twitter at EOGTHFC. So we're still going. I think that runs until mid-Jan and they announce us as winners.
Stop the count.
In February. So, okay, New Year's resolutions, gents. Mine is to be able to wear baseball caps. I'm going to start with the Spurs. Well, I'm going to ask you because
Go on,
I'm
Gary.
nice.
I don't do them. I've got no willpower. So I realised by the 2nd of January this was a terrible idea. And my wife said to me literally last night, she said, do you want to do dry January with me? I said, no, absolutely not. Why would I want to do that? No resolutions.
Okay, but for Spurs?
I actually had a resolution to go to every Spurs game this season, every home game this season. And that's not going to happen.
Because?
Yes. So Gary last night sent a very panicked message.
You've been to all of them so far,
So
right?
far, I've been every home game.
Yeah, I've been all but Sheffield United.
Every home league game.
League
I'm not going to Burnley, actually.
We're
on
not
Friday
in
night,
Europe,
to be
so
fair.
you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to Burnley
So
on Friday.
on our message, one of our groups last night, Gary said, "Is there any chance the Arsenal game?"
Oh, yeah, this is that group, the other Echo of Glory group.
Yeah, you're not welcome.
okay.
Yeah,
The one that
yeah.
you're not
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
People who wear baseball caps not allowed in. He said, "Any chance the game against Arsenal at the end of April gets moved?" So I had a frantic look to see whether it clashed maybe with FA Cup semi-final.
That's what I was hoping.
No.
But even then I'd miss the FA Cup semi-final. But,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, we're going to be on... Apparently, we're going to be on holiday that week.
Where are you going?
Dubai. But, it means that I won't be at the North London Derby, and that could well be the only league home game that I missed this season. Just sort of...
Fly
Sorry,
back.
what's the when is the Arsenal game?
20th of April, is it?
Yeah.
27th of April, around that
it
time.
was 27th of April.
27th of April.
Yeah, so I wasn't happy with that. But yeah, so that one's gone out the window. There you go. These things happen.
A Spurs New Year's resolution? Or are you just going to say win the league?
Win the league.
Okay. Jake, New Year's resolutions?
Sign a centre-back.
Sign a centre-back. Yeah.
No, yeah, you just
I'll just take your one.
yeah,
I'm sorry, mate.
Oh.
sign a centre back.
Any personal ones?
Just don't be a
Just be nice.
be nice.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Mine was for Spurs to stop getting injuries and suspensions. It's not really a resolution, it's just a wish.
Yeah, as is a centre-back, as is winning the league. So none of these are really resolutions.
Well, there's no real club news this week because none of the other teams played, but there was a bit of news with regard to Dragusin even this morning that it might be done soon. I'm not going to sit here and say I've seen the guy play. I've watched his YouTube. Obviously, there's a lot of people who have seen him play. I spoke to Patrick Kendrick, who admitted he hadn't seen much of Genoa, but he did say that in Italy there were rumblings that Juventus probably shouldn't have got rid of him. So that's a sign of a good player. Because when we signed Bentancur and Kulu, I'd seen quite a bit of Bentancur at international level, but Kulu not that much. I don't think Juve signed good players. You're not a good player if you've. Sorry,
You
you're a
mean
good.
bad-
You're a good
yeah.
player if you've been through that Juve system.
I think as well. I mean, I haven't seen Draghi, so I'm not going to pretend like I sit here and watch much European football. I don't, particularly because we're not in Europe. But what does give me confidence is the fact that he was at Juve. He's a player that is clearly known by Paratici. I think Paratici is still very much in an advisory capacity to the club, and I would say he has a phenomenal record where 80% of his transfers for Tottenham have been huge successes and transformed the squad, and the ones that have come from Juve in particular have been the biggest hits. So it gives me confidence. I can't pretend that I'm not very interested in Todibo. Again, I'm not somebody...
I don't know either.
No, but he's keeping Saliba at the French team, apparently. So he's got to be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably other reasons for that.
I did a little bit of YouTube scouting, and he looks very composed on the ball, looks like a very Saliba-type centre-back. So I was quite excited by him.
He must be doing something right. Nice have let in 9 goals this season in 17 games. I know it's not the greatest league in the world, but... He's part of a very good defence.
But the reality is that I think they're like 3 or 4 points off the top of the league. They're clearly challenging. We've also got the whole Ineos situation. It just seems like a much harder deal to done. Possibly one we revisit in the summer if we want 4 centre-backs. I don't know. I would put the money on Dragusin being the Spurs player shortly.
Especially with the links to Paratici.
Absolutely.
I think he signed him at Juve. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I've read that, yeah.
I agree with what you say about the big clubs. They tend to sign players. And also... I also just don't care that I haven't heard of him anymore because the record... No, but it used to really bother me because you're like, well, why can't we just sign someone who is really good and he's really good or has been really good in the Premier League? But the last 2 years or year and a half, 2 years, I'd say, I think we've moved on from
Van der Ven.
Van der Ven.
I'd heard of him. I don't watch much Bundesliga. I watch a lot of football. But I'd not, these players.
Most of our starting 11, I don't think you'd heard. I mean, I hadn't really heard much.
Nobody's heard of
Son
Vicario.
when we signed him. I didn't know much about Son. Okay, I don't watch much of the Bundesliga.
By the way,
he wasn't one of Europe's best players, was he?
On that, I saw a tweet from Ruud van Nistelrooy last night. Actually, I meant to get it in the screen here, but I don't think we've got it. In 2011, Van Nistelrooy saying there's a lad in the youth team here called Son. Watch out for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
I might have got the year wrong, but whenever it was, there's an 18-year-old in our youth team here.
But you see my point, and I just didn't. Maybe are you like me? I don't watch much European football.
No.
I didn't know much about Romero when we signed him.
Completely.
I knew nothing about
Udogie.
Vicario, Udogie.
It's not our job to...
Porro was in a little bit because he played against us
very
and
well.
then he played very
But it's not
well.
our job.
So-
And now, for years and
Absolutely.
years and years, I think our scouting has been poor.
Yeah.
And Dombele, to a point, the Celso will come to
We've joked about
him.
this before. I mean, mid 2000s. I mean, there was some. And
But when we signed Modric, you'd heard of him, but that was out of left field.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wasn't the player he obviously is now. So look, I'm trusting a little bit more now.
Oh,
in-
now
in-
I'm
in the
really.
scouting.
Now I think just bring him in. Whoever they've decided, bring him in. And also Ange. As I said before, if Ange likes him, he's obvious. They must fit the system that Ange wants to
But
play.
it feels like you are
course.
going through levels of approval now, right? So you've got Paratici, then you've got the guys around him that have come in and are now heading up the recruitment. Then you've got the data analytics, and then you've got Ange. And the most crucial thing on all of this as well is Ange's sort of testimonial as to what he wants outside of all the characteristics of a player in a certain position. One bad egg in the changing room
Absolutely.
can really damage things. So I have full faith, unlike with Ndombele, that they are getting the character references. They're doing that deep dive into the personality and sort of character of the player that they're getting. So when you put all of these levels of rigour together, you shouldn't really
Sign
have
too
too
many
many
duds.
players that fail.
You look at United, I'm going a little bit off tangent, but I don't know what they're doing. Their recruitment's been awful, and look at the rut they're in. If you can get it right, then the future looks bright.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know though. I think maybe they've signed some good players, but what's going on there hasn't suited.
Van der Beek just gone out on loan to Eintracht. He started like 10 Premier League games for them in 3 years.
Yeah, but we're really going off topic. But I don't know if their managers have been very good coaches and
No, that's the point I'm
give
saying.
any of those players
That's
to
a-
Ange, and it's probably a
Right,
different
that's
story.
the point. If you buy the right players for the manager and the
Right.
system,
Yeah.
you've got to hope you're onto something.
Yeah.
Don't buy
I'm going to
players like Conte
No, but a
didn't
good
want.
manager can make an average player better as
Correct.
well, regardless of the system.
And what you said there, buy a good player for the manager and the system. I think what's so important about it, and we spoke about it versus Brighton last week, about the fact that they have injuries, right? It's not about actually, I genuinely no longer believe it's about buying players for the manager. The manager that you get has to conform to a style of football and a type of way that you want to play that becomes the DNA of your club. The players that you buy ought to feed into that, and that's why Brighton were able to seamlessly bring players in. So I don't think it's about buying players for the manager. Let's move away from the likes of Conte. I want this player for myself, but when I go, what happens to that player?
Yeah.
Okay, the players that we buy, it shouldn't matter who the manager is. The manager should be saying, these are players that I can
But it's
work
happened with Porro and Udogie, where Conte, we sign as players for Conte. He's a wing back man. So Ange's come in. He's not a wing back man. Look what he's done to Porro and Udogie.
That's the point that Jake's making. Good coaching. A good coach will take a player. And this is the point. If you are saying we want technical, good footballers, right, then a good coach will look at Udogie and Porro and go, these are technical, good footballers. I can work with this. And that's exactly what Ange has done. So I don't think it is any longer about buying the players for the manager. It's about buying the players for the system and the philosophy of club that you want to be.
It's a difficult window to buy in as well.
Well, perhaps even more with someone like Ange, because I think we said in the summer at some point, who out there who can play as an inverted fullback? You got like it's not really a position that's been around that long. So you basically got Zinchenko's done it, John Stones has done it. You're not going to buy them. So he either had to. It was either a case of. Well, he basically had to either bring another fullback in and turn them into an inverted fullback, or work with what he's got. What he's got.
It's a difficult window to buy to buy in. A couple of years ago,
Cliche alert.
Yeah, take each game as it comes. A couple of years ago,
Game of two halves.
January.
Game of two halves.
Game of two halves.
We bought a couple of good players in January, Kulusevski and Bentancur, and let's go on to that on Sunday. I sat here last week and said to you, and Jake Sanders, because Brighton had bought that Stupinan, who I'd thought was out till February. I'd read he was out till February.
Yeah.
Suddenly he's on the bench.
I thought of you when I.
Suddenly he was on the bench, and I said last week on the pod, any chance of a surprise? But it was more Van der Veen and Maddison. I thought maybe you'd heard rumours that they'd been back in training. Maybe one would be on the bench. Okay, we'll start with this story. My birthday on Sunday. We went
Happy
out.
birthday.
Thank you. We
Happy
went out.
New Year.
Thank you. And we went out for breakfast. And
What'd you have?
I had.
Where'd you go?
We went out to Pink Cafe in Bournemouth.
Lovely. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. I had poached eggs on toast, and the kids had French toast, and my wife had French toast, and I could go on.
Well, there was more.
Of course there was more. New Year's resolution, eat less at breakfast. As we're walking outside, bumped into someone who is an Arsenal fan. He said to me, Bentancur might be back today. And I'd heard there'd been that Instagram thing that Bentancur's
from his
wife
wife,
had said
yeah.
something, L30 is back, which obviously that's his nickname at home. And we're walking along and I'm saying...
One of them.
El 30.
Okay, thanks. See you in Marbella.
See you in Mars. 2 caipirinhas, please.
And I'd heard this rumour, and he says, my mate had seen Bentancur out, and he said he'd be back next game, but we kind of agreed that that'll probably be Man United. Anyway, stories start to develop on social media that Bentancur might be in the squad against Bournemouth, and then Spurs tweet a picture of the players arriving at the ground, and there's 3 players are playing, Son, Porro, and someone else, I think, and Bentancur's standing there
he is.
in his full kit. And you okay, something's happening here. Thought he might be on the bench, then we heard that he was going to start.
There he is.
Yeah, I just love him.
Love him.
And
Everybody loves him.
I think it just lifted everybody a little bit, because you knew it would be Sarr, and we weren't sure who it was going to be. Sarr and Celso, Sarr and Højbjerg, Sarr and Skip. You knew, right, it's Sarr and Bentancur in midfield. That makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
And I remember when they called his name out, Paul Coit, number 30, Bentancur, the whole place went up, and Bentancur was giving it that. He's an emotional guy as well. You can see how happy he was to be playing.
Yeah.
It wasn't his best performance. He gave us an hour. But even that, he's class. And it just makes you feel... I know what you're going to say. I've lowered it there by saying it wasn't his best performance. Whatever, he was great. He is great.
Still integral to the first goal.
Integral for the first goal, the pressing. He's just a wonderful, wonderful footballer.
Yeah.
And with this happening 20 minutes... 15
The
minutes
Lord
after he
giveth
scored.
And the Lord taketh
This
away.
keeps happening.
It's actually unbelievable.
It's
isn't
one.
it?
It's one player back.
We lost 2.
Yeah, well, this is happening. I said it last week. I
Yeah.
think it's one player
One in,
in,
one out.
It was 2 out.
Yeah.
It seems to be 2 out every week.
Well, even with the starting lineup, Bentancur was back, but Decky was out. And now we're talking about. But even before the game had started, that's what I was thinking.
So we'll come back to this. So this was the starting lineup.
So we should have said actually probably what that was, because not everybody watches us.
No, well, I'm going to come back to this. This is Sarr getting
Yeah.
injured and,
Yeah.
and probably missing AFCON, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
We start with, well, they've gone 4-3-3 here, which I'm not convinced about. Vicario in goal, Porro, Emerson, Davies, Udogie, which picked itself. Sarr and Bentancur.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it did.
Yeah.
Did you not?
Pace. Dyer's just
you-
too slow.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
talking about
Dorrington.
yeah.
Dorrington or Phillips.
Well, I thought Emerson actually had a good
he
game.
did, and actually the ball for the third goal was sensational
Down the line.
down the line. Yeah.
Sarr and Bentancur, then you had Johnson, Lo Celso, Son and Richarlison up front.
Okay, so once you know that Bentancur is fit, I kind of agree that does pick itself. I do want to come on to at some point, if we can. At 3-0, why Dyer ahead of Dorrington or Phillips?
Well,
Why?
We'll come-
You're
we'll
3-0
come to
up.
it.
You've
We'll
got
come
about...
hold it.
And I vented this
Down boy.
about Ange last week.
Down boy.
Yeah.
The office dog is not actually here today, but you could be him. Down boy.
His dog's
So,
normally asleep.
not that boring, are we?
No, but that's a calm dog.
So we're all delighted, we said, to see Bentancur and Lo Celso.
I got myself in trouble.
Did you?
Yeah, well, see what happened was that I got to the ground and I got a little bit excited because I didn't realise that at the ground they serve Moretti on tap.
Here we go.
I'd never known that. Right?
Here we go. Happy
Never
New
knew
Year.
that. So I was like, oh, this is a touch. So
I think that's new for this season, though.
well, I'd never seen it, and I love it. I love a
It
Moretti.
used to be Amstel.
So I was having a Moretti, and then the news started to trickle through about Bentancur, and I was like, oh my god, this day is starting to feel. So I went to the ground. I wasn't feeling too positive, but now I've got Moretti and Bentancur starting to feel very positive.
Only one Moretti.
So, so one of my mates said to me, he said, "Can you imagine though?" He said, "What would happen?" He said, so I said to him, "I've got a good feeling about today." He says, "How good a feeling?" He says, "Could we win and Arsenal lose?" And this is where I got myself in trouble. I said, if that happens, New Year's Eve, might have to give my wife a treat tonight, right? Big bold. Only went and happened, and yeah, God, things we say and then regret, hey. But
Were you
yeah.
in trouble?
I had to give her the treat, didn't I? So,
Which was? Or is that not for broadcast?
well, there's a timely reminder of one of the treats that's in there next to my daughter's next to. I
Right,
should be
okay.
telling this story today.
No.
But yeah, that was so. Yeah, that happened. But yeah, Arsenal lost and Spurs won.
It was a great day.
Lucky wife.
It was a
Well.
great day. Well, you asked me a question, didn't you?
I did.
Spurs Arsenal stat.
Yeah, so
couldn't answer.
my brother.
I've got the answer.
You've got the
Only
answers.
took him 15 minutes.
You could have done it.
I wouldn't even be bothered to look, but thank you for doing it. My brother asked me before the game, he said, when was the last time that Spurs and Arsenal kicked off at the same time? And I said, that's easy, North London derby. He said, you
Cheat.
don't be that guy, right?
New Year's resolution.
So I said, okay, last day of the season. He
New Year's
said,
resolution, don't be Gary.
don't
be
be
that
that
guy.
guy. Don't be me. He said, no. He said, I said, well, the last day of the last season. He says, no, outside of a uniformed kickoff when everybody kicks off, when was the last time Spurs and Arsenal actually kicked off at the same time? I had no idea, but you looked it up.
I looked it up.
You didn't know it?
Yeah, other than, like you said, playing at the same time against each other or a Boxing Day when everyone kicks off at the same time. March 2023, we lost 1-0 at Wolves, which I actually don't remember.
So I'm just going to text my daughter to stop singing.
Oh, yes.
She's singing beautifully out there.
We did. We lost at Wolves. We lost at Wolves, and that was the day that Bournemouth beat Arsenal.
Arsenal beat Bournemouth.
Arsenal beat Bournemouth.
Reece
But
Nelson scored
Bournemouth,
that.
I was at that game. They went 2-0 up. Arsenal then came back. Yeah, Reece Nelson.
Beating
Yeah,
Bournemouth
yeah.
3-2 at home. So that was the last time go.
There, just stop now.
March. It was beautiful singing out there, but I was just worried it was
Distracting.
Yeah, it was distracting. Okay, so can we remember the start of the game?
Do you think?
Oh,
Do you
okay.
think Kulusevski? Obviously, Kulusevski, if he wasn't out, would have played.
Hmm.
Who do you think he plays instead of? Is it just Lo Celso? Easy.
With Bentancur coming back?
Yeah. In that 11 we had up.
Lo Celso, I
It
imagine.
would have
would
been
have-
Lo Celso.
So
Yeah.
he's still playing through the middle. Decky
Yes.
as the 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, and especially because I don't think Lo Celso is a 10. I think
Do you
he's
think-
an 8.
Do you
I
think-
wonder if Kulusevski was fit, whether Bentancur would have been on the bench and Lo Celso may have played.
There you go. Yeah, that's the point.
Mm.
I think he had to throw Bentancur in. It's very odd.
But
It's odd for Spurs. It's odd for anyone to come
Do you-
straight
but
back
if
in.
it even then, no,
this
because-
is a bit off at a tangent. Do you think maybe that Ange has stumbled across Decky's best position? Do you think when everyone's back fit, Decky could be the 10?
Yeah. If Johnson continues,
you have
or
Maddison.
goes forward.
Can you play with Maddison and
I
Decky?
forgot about him.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, Decky. It's a nice problem to have. Gary,
Yeah.
what were you going to say?
No, well, on your point as to who would have started, I think Bentancur still would have started because even with Sarr, Kulusevski and Lo Celso, you've got to put one of them in the 6, and I don't think he wants to put any of them in the 6, whereas Bentancur could.
Yeah.
So I don't think Bentancur. I still think Bentancur would have started. As to Decky's best position, I think, was it you who said that you saw an interview with him or something where he said that he feels more comfortable in the middle and that's where he started?
He sort of got shunted out as a winger at Juve.
Right.
Yeah. Maddison did play off the left a lot for Leicester.
No, that's not
you
happening.
can't play him now.
Not happening.
Good options. Good options, good
yeah.
rotations.
Nice
That's the
problem to
point
have.
of depth of squad, isn't
On
it?
Maddison, let's just come to the first half. I can't really remember the start of the game. I think we did start well.
3 pints will do it to you.
0 points on Sunday. We started really well, and then Bournemouth got into it. It was similar to the Everton game, but we took the lead through Sarr. Great pressing from Bentancur, good tackle from Lo Celso. Johnson was to Sarr's right, and Sarr took this really awkward touch. Go on.
No, I was saying to you both before the game, like, when you watch it back, right, do you remember like those sort of really unplayable football console games when you were younger and like you take a touch and it would go 5 yards to the right? It was like that, right? The goal again, he took
Did a
this
little,
touch.
like, shimmy out
he
that
did,
way.
like, proper took 5. I mean, you think, get the ball and just drive.
Yeah.
No. He took a touch 5 yards to the right and the Bournemouth players just went, yeah, you do what you like, mate.
I wonder whether he was caught between two stools between giving it out to Johnson and shooting, but they didn't close it.
No.
So they made their decision for it.
Yeah, no, they absolutely made this. And he still had to put away a great effort.
And a great finish, and he'd actually started the game really well. And then come back to this picture, he picked up a thigh or a hamstring injury, and he was in tears. And when he came off, he was in tears. And it's great to see Son. They seem to have a bond as well. This wasn't just Son being captain. You see they have a bond. And we all talk about international football and international football's rubbish. This means a lot to these people. The Africa Cup of Nations is a massive tournament. And this is a young guy who has played at a World Cup, but was probably as a sub. The chances are he was going to be a starter for Cameroon at the tournament, and his tournament is probably over, which was a real shame.
You'd expect maybe a similar reaction from, ahead of the Euros or something like that. It's massive. It's a huge deal. It's just so, talk about the highs and the lows. To score a goal, and a really good goal as well, and a goal that you wouldn't expect from him. What was it? 25-yard shot into the corner.
What did I say?
Cameroon.
Did I? Sorry, Senegal. Yeah, of course.
And then for that to happen, what was it? What time did he go off?
15 minutes later.
15 minutes later, an hour before the game finished. He's got an hour. He's got 60 minutes to get through, babes.
He scored after 9 minutes, and he came off after 32.
That's what I mean. But another goal, another goal from a high turnover.
Yeah.
We've this is what Klopp's Liverpool, the real peak Klopp Liverpool years, was known for.
We're way ahead on the high turnovers in the final third.
I remember that Sheffield United, we did one.
Well, it was
Newcastle, Forest, we had one. I'm not sure.
The third goal against there was a third goal against City when Ben Davies won that header, and it was not a high turnover, but it's they are on the front foot, and suddenly they're out of defensive position, and we've won the ball.
I remember Burnley, Sheffield United.
Burnley, without people. Burnley, yeah, absolutely. Without
Udogie.
people mentioning us, I think, in the way that they, everyone just talks about Pep and Klopp and that kind of those two. You give the ball away, or you aren't decisive enough with the ball in your own third, and you're going to get killed by Tottenham's Ange team.
You said we've got the highest. Have you got the numbers to hand?
I don't.
But it was some. I remember seeing it. It was some distance, wasn't it? You talk amongst yourselves. I think you sent it. I'm gonna have a look.
Were you there on Sunday?
No.
Why not?
You don't want to know.
Okay. But you've seen the game.
Seen the game.
It's been all over it.
Well,
There was a point in the first half where I was worried.
The last 10 minutes, yeah. No, I saw the game.
We're a bit like Everton, that we're sort of 20-minute FC, and it's like have a brilliant 20 minutes, and we capitalised and we scored, and then we let the teams get back in the game. But the brilliant analysis on Match of the Day too. Spurs are almost not allowing, but it's going to happen. Allowing teams to play wide, and we give them space out wide, and then we defend the box very well. And it's like, if you're going to score, you've got to get through 3-4 of us. But Solanke had a couple of chances. He got injured after about 35 minutes. I'm surprised he stayed on. Go on.
I want to read this. It's interesting. You sent this to our group yesterday because you're big on this, the high turnovers, and
Which is not something we've seen from us really before.
You found this stat. It's actually pressures in the final third resulting in turnover. Okay, Tottenham Hotspur lead the way with 318. The next highest is Arsenal. 318. Arsenal's next with 268.
That's a lot.
You're talking 50 more.
But the only reason I mention it really, well, two. One is that we haven't seen it, but it's also resulting. I mean, there's now a lot of goals we've scored.
Well, this is the point about Arsenal is they're having a lot of this. They're doing 200 whatever it was. They're not scoring goals,
right.
And we are scoring goals. We've now scored in a club record equaling 32 games in a row. And like you say, the Sarr goal came from it. But Bournemouth again. We talked to Mark McAdam last week. I thought like Everton, they were strong, they were physical, they were quick. They were decent.
On another day, I mean...
Yeah, I thought... Yeah,
Solanke
missed a few chances.
He had a bit of an off day.
I thought they had really two tactics that they were trying to employ against us. And it really sort of, I thought, highlighted the frailties without Van de Ven and Romero. And one of them was very well highlighted on Match of the Day. They were attacking the right-hand side where Porro often, should have been, but often isn't. And I'm not blaming Porro at all because that's the way that we play and that's his instruction. But you don't get that when Romero's there. I just think Romero reads it better. I think he covers it better. Royal isn't a centre-back. He hasn't got that sense of reading. He had a decent game, but that was one area that I think they tried to exploit, and you don't see us getting exploited to that extent when Romero's there. The other one, they tried a couple of balls right over the top of us.
Well, Villa and Everton did that.
Yeah. And I was just sat there, and I was thinking to myself, you don't do that if Van de Ven plays. You can't.
Well, Udogie covered twice in the first half.
Brilliantly twice around the back. Superb. One of the tackles, he was my man of the match, actually.
Yes,
he was absolutely sensational. But I was just thinking to myself, the two tactics that you've got that you're trying to exploit are as a direct result of not having. And Ben Davies also played very well, by the way, and he's been exceptional at left centre back. So this isn't about these guys because. Ben Davies, no issues with him staying in the squad as long as he wants, but as a squad player. But when he starts, with Van de Ven there, I just don't think you go over the top like they tried to. Van de Ven wouldn't have that.
You talk about missing the centre halves. Obviously, we know we do. I was in the first half at half time. I thought to myself, or just before half time, when we couldn't get out again, like we couldn't get out against Everton. I started to realise how much we missed Maddison because I thought Lo Celso had an excellent second half. I think Lo Celso was really good. Really good tackler. He's really annoying. He's defensively pretty good the way he gets in and wins the ball. I think he's good on the front foot. He's not someone who, for me, is great in tight spaces. And I just think when we can't get out, Maddison is a real loss. And you asked, what happens when he comes back? Does Kudu play? Does Maddison play somewhere else? No. I think that link between the defence and the forwards is really, really missing. And I think that's possibly why we're struggling to get out.
Yeah, I mean, look, in defence of Lo Celso, I don't think he's a 10 at all. I think he is an 8, and his best work, and he had a very good game, but his best work came not from that 10 position. It came from that sort of 8 position where, the ball through to Son for the second goal. That's what, just inside our half, first time outside of the left foot. He's a gifted footballer, very gifted footballer, and I think his best work comes sort of, halfway inside our half to halfway inside their half. That's where
I agree with that.
Box to box kind of. Well.
But yeah, I mean, even up to the edge of their box, but certainly sort of halfway inside our half. I don't think he wants to be much deeper than that, so I wouldn't trust him in the 6.
Correct. Yeah,
and then all the way up to the edge of their box is where he's good. But if he's receiving the ball sort of back to goal in a 10 or up front where he's trying, I just don't think he needs the game kind of in front of him a bit more.
Correct, almost that perfect position where he picked the pass for Son.
Exactly that.
So we killed the game off, didn't we? 2 goals in 10 minutes for 71 and 80, I think.
It was really important as well.
71 and 80. Lo Celso, lovely ball to Son, who'd a couple of times had been in that situation. First half, he fluffed it. Second half, he put in a lovely ball to Richarlison just before that, I think. Was that at 1-0 when Richarlison put it wide?
1-0.
This time, it
was a bit off balance and it was quite a tough.
Richarlison, I thought, was a poor finish. He was off balance, but I know a man who would have stuck that in. He who shall not be named.
I can't believe you actually mentioned that because I was thinking that that's what fans will be thinking. But ultimately, there's only one of him, right? Harry Kane. He's the best or one of the best for a reason. So I'm not saying Richarlison. Okay,
but Harry Kane's not the only striker that would have scored that.
Well, yeah, but no. But what I think we have to sometimes, and it's Son the same, because Son had a couple of chances that he fluffed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's
Yes.
only one Harry Kane, and I think most players do.
But we've been
take one-
spoilt by that.
We've been spoilt by that. He's now not here. You know, Son's
over
still
it.
scoring goals. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Son's still scoring goals, isn't he? Like,
Richardson's got 5 in 5.
Richarlison got 5 and 5. Son is
Son's stats this month are unbelievable, and I was sat here
Right, we
after,
were having it.
after Brighton saying, "Oh, he had a really poor game
Right.
and this, that, the other." And when Son doesn't score, like, he can be a bit of an empty shirt at times. And in fact, he lost the ball against Brighton, which led to the first goal.
I thought he had an excellent second half.
He was, and I was even saying, look, if his head isn't in it, if his head's already at the Asian Cup,
Yeah.
but he was bang on it again, and his numbers this month
Yeah.
have been absolutely
We're gonna miss
sensational.
him.
But I allowed myself a naughty thought this week, and that
Another
was
one.
yeah, and that was if Harry Kane was still at Tottenham, would we right now be top of the league?
We'd be top of the league if we didn't lose all those players, I think. Forget Kane. This season, the players that we have.
I agree with that, actually.
You can lose. You can't be injury free, right? So if you've lost a few, so be it. But the way it all happened in one cluster
Yeah, Chelsea,
yeah, he
Chelsea,
screwed us for
Wolves,
3
West
games,
Ham, and Villa.
basically. Yeah.
and beyond.
Chelsea, Wolves, West Ham, Villa. Those 4 games are gutting. I mean, because and there's a great tweet actually. Do you want to bring it up
yeah.
now? Because this is a great moment to
I've
bring.
got to
this up
find it
while
because
we're
they're not in
talking
order.
about it.
Hold on. No,
Um,
not that one.
Just flick
That
to
one.
This one. There's a lot of people seem to start recognising, actually, with Arsenal dropping off and us being where we are. There's a great tweet from, I don't really care who it is, it's an Arsenal fan, who says, Spurs playing 4 fullbacks in defence are 1 point behind us. I don't even want to see an Arteta coach side with that many injuries. And then another Arsenal fan has written here, it's equivalent, and this is really pertinent, it's equivalent to us losing Saliba and Gabriel, Odegaard and Rice. We'd be fighting relegation. Number one, okay, great that actually it's recognised how well we're doing. But it's also more than this, because I was listening to, I think it was TalkSport on the way back, and they were saying, you know, Spurs' patchy form, 5 losses, but no Spurs fans were really feeling that, because we looked at that and said we should have beaten Wolves, we should have beaten Chelsea. How we lost to West Ham is a miracle, and Villa, my God, we destroyed them. So yeah, you can look at it and say, oh, 5 defeats is bad, because it looks bad, but it didn't feel bad at any point.
No.
Brighton felt bad, but it didn't. Outside of that, it didn't feel bad.
I think Brighton and Wolves were bad.
Yeah, Wolves was a bad
Yeah, but
performance.
we've already
When you're
said we
1-0
gave
up.
us a pass for Wolves
It was
because
the
of
back of Chelsea.
But it's still the
100%.
fact that you're 1-0 up. We had a couple of chances. I remember Højbjerg
Yeah.
putting Johnson in the second half, and
Yeah.
Johnson's got to do better. You know, we could have put that game away. It was just a bit of a flat performance, which we give a pass for, right? But when you're 1-0 up going into United, Sheffield United will say the same, but they'd been battered the whole game.
Yeah.
You know, it was a disappointing defeat. But we're sat there and we're just like, yeah, so I mentioned Harry Kane. I was thinking to myself, you know, if we'd had all these injuries, but Harry Kane was up front for us, I fancy we'd have another 8 or 9 points.
I'm sure we would. Anyway, we killed the game with Son's second goal and then a lovely ball. Again, Johnson, we've always said that I think he's got great delivery. Brilliant cross across to Richarlison. Johnson had a better game. One thing he did in the first half, well, 2 things actually. Went on a really good run there. Left back was very, very quick and caught him up. Great, fine. We want to see that. Go forward with the ball. And then just after that, he flicked one over the centre half or the fullback, took it on, but then the centre half came. He lost the ball on both occasions, but don't care.
Take him on.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Just take your player on.
And he's now playing in the position that he was playing in last season. We've said
Correct.
this before, and suddenly he's got 3 assists or whatever it is in the last 5-6 games. Playing in his right position.
Yeah, he's definitely a player that's going to grow and grow.
But that's why I think it's unfair for people giving him a bit of haven't seen enough
No,
yet,
but
this
there
kind
was-
of thing.
there was some
but
stuff-
he's now played in his rightful position,
Jake,
and now we're seeing it.
There was some stuff on social media after he got a lovely assist, and people go, "Oh, you guys are all wrong. I can't believe you were slagging off Johnson." No one's been slagging him off. We've just been like, just want to see a little bit more.
But
People need
that's it.
time to,
Fine, and he'll get the time. He is young and he's only just made the move, and we all understand that. What I want to see more is, and I felt this was better on Sunday. He wasn't on the periphery of the game so much. He was
Yes.
actually wanting the ball more,
yeah.
demanding the ball more. And that's what I was saying after the Brighton defeat was, you know, he's come in on big money. He's got a lot of talent and ability. He has to step up and you know, take the burden on his shoulders sometimes to say, give me the ball. I can get us out. I can run. I can commit. I can carry the ball 50 yards up the pitch for us, right? That's what I want to see more of from him.
Yeah.
And all that just requires is just to be a bit braver. Yeah. That's all I want to see.
And to be fair, I went to one of Ange's press conferences a few weeks ago, and he said
Oh, did he?
he says more or less he said that, you know, Brennan has come here.
Johnson.
Brennan has come here to Tottenham because he could have stayed at Forest and sort of stayed in his comfort zone, but he wants to be that guy that you're talking about, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have come here. You see what I mean? It's, exactly the same kind of thing. And I tell you, that is going to be an important partnership now that Son has gone. You know, Johnson crossing, the goal that Richarlison scored on Sunday, I think that's where he's at his best.
It's happened a couple of times.
Yeah, that's where he's at his best.
In the width of the posts.
Yeah,
that's where
exactly.
he's great.
But running onto the ball, any time where he sort of has to receive it and turn
Think
or something
about-
like that,
doesn't
think
have-
about it.
don't think.
But what he's good at is being in that right place at the right time.
But his work rate was great. He had a very good game.
But his
Really
work rate's
good
all.
game.
I don't think you can ever question his work rate. It's sort of the end product.
I think his hold-up play was better.
It was. He never gave those two centre-backs a moment rest. They knew they were in a game. And look, Son's a different kind of striker, but I don't think Son would have
occupied
those two centre-backs in that way.
He's bigger, stronger.
He's an
more
agent of
physical.
chaos.
And he likes a bit of a brawl, right? Which is great. I love that about him. I'm really pleased that he's stepping up and actually starting to show us after the injuries. And you've got to start listening to him when he says, "I haven't been fit since I've come to Tottenham." Now,
looks fine.
Yeah,
looks good.
Yeah,
long may it continue. So they get in the game. Adam Scott, that's the golfer. Alex Scott comes on. Mark McAdam said he was one to watch, and you'd asked him, you'd heard about him. Scored a nice goal. Scored a second goal, which was disallowed.
When that goal went in, I thought, Gary will be pleased.
I can.
There was one guy cheering in the home end, and it was Gary.
I was right.
So we win 3-1. End. Done.
Can I just say though that Brian Hill header?
Oh wow.
Was that not the most Brian Hill thing ever? Like, also, not just because it went over, but also it was an awkward one for him. Hit the bar. Missed. It was an awkward one for him. And you're thinking, all the guy wants
is a
goal. And he's probably thinking, give me a header, 3 yards out, whatever. Anything. But the way the ball came across, and he's having to get that, it wasn't a straightforward header. He should have scored.
Still harder to miss, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it reminded me of a goal that we didn't score Sunday League once. Do you remember a guy called Dino?
Yeah.
Centre midfield. He's not listening, so I can say this.
Not yet.
Absolute mensch. Absolute lovely guy. The kind of guy you want on your team Sunday morning. Always happy, always smiling, tough. Wasn't the best footballer. We scored a goal that I swear was over the line, and he tried to put it in, but it was already in. And as he put his foot out, it sort of rolled up his knee, up his chest, and off his face, and over the crossbar. So he managed to unscore a goal. That's what it felt like with Brian Hill.
Yeah, look, it's a shame, and also Højbjerg did a nice bit of work there.
Lovely feat from your man Højbjerg.
I'm gonna look. We talk about Johnson, and people say, "Oh, you're digging him out." I think. With Johnson, we want more because we know he has more to offer. When it comes to digging out players like Højbjerg and Dyer, they haven't got any more to offer, and that means that they're not good enough, and that's coming from a bit of a different place.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
And the same with Brian Hill. He hasn't got it. We know he hasn't got it. Experiment over. And my disappointment from the game, aside from the two injuries, gutted for Feliz, by the way, because that looks a nasty one.
Oh, yeah.
And he was Højbjerg. We're on a break.
Yeah.
We're on a break, right? Even
Maybe he
if
didn't know.
the guy had been hobbling for 5 minutes, right? He'd been hobbling about for
All
5 minutes,
he
right?
knew.
Højbjerg's on the break. He's got it's actually an easier pass to Son as well.
Yeah, but Højbjerg's like that tough Nordic. He's like, you're on this pitch, you're good enough to play. I'm passing you the ball.
But even if Feliz is fit, you still go to Son,
Yeah.
right? You still go to Son because he's got the pace in that sort of area.
Right,
that pass was mental.
Got a month left of Højbjerg.
And my only other gripe was that I didn't understand at 3-0. Why are you bringing on Hill? Why don't you bring on Donnelly? Why are you bringing on...
Donnelly was stripped.
It was weird.
Bizarre.
And then
I'm
we
not sure
scored,
why.
and then he went and sat down. Why are you bringing on Hill? Why not Donnelly? Why are you bringing on Dyer? Why not one of the kids at centre-back, Dorrington or Phillips? Right, we're 3-0 up. This is a great moment to give these kids 10 minutes, 15 minutes with injury time. A great moment to have given them that. That's my only gripe from the game, and I just want Ange to start blooding these kids.
I think they might have I think there were 4 of them were they? I could be making this up. Donnelly was definitely stripped.
Donnelly was stripped.
I wonder what they'd forgotten that they'd already made a first half sub because they couldn't bring on another.
It could have been.
But I don't remember seeing 4 of them. Whether they changed their mind with Donnelly and sent someone else. I think maybe they sent Dyer on instead of Donnelly.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm convinced. Are we? Is it too early to talk about Burnley? Or are we going to do that later?
We're going to come quickly to Burnley. I just want to do
I was going to say, I'm convinced that at least 2 of those 3 might get a go.
I hope so.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Don't jump the gun.
Don't jump the gun. Well, I have something else to say, and that is when we lost to Wolves, and then we lost to I've got it here. Villa. That was the one. Villa, and I had Arsenal fans texting me saying, "You were 5 points ahead of us. You're now 9 points behind us," or something like that. Well,
I'm not saying anything. They've got
look at the table
they've
now.
got Palace and Forest. Forest, tough game, but
But the
let's
point
just
is,
chill.
it changes very quickly.
Exactly, and I saw this. I watching Bournemouth knock the ball about, and I'm like, wow, this is a completely different Bournemouth team. There are no easy games left in the Premier League. Look at Luton,
Cliche alert.
but
Yeah,
there aren't.
it's true. It's true, and so you can lose to anyone at any time, and you can, the smaller teams can beat the bigger teams at any time.
Right.
And look at us now, and look at them.
I'm going to do some stats for you.
They're not doing very well.
They're not happy.
Who, Arsenal?
Arsenal.
No, they're not happy. Good.
Yeah.
Tottenham, we said, scored in each of their last 32 Premier League matches since a 1-0 defeat to Wolves in March. What can you tell me about that day? It's the last day Spurs and Arsenal played at the same time. That is the longest ongoing streak in the competition. Only 3 sides have gone on longer streaks in Premier League history. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United.
Oh, I thought you were going to let us guess.
So how many games is it?
So Arsenal 55.
Oh wow.
Liverpool, Man United both did 36.
And what are we on now?
32. Bournemouth had 24 shots in the match, their most in a Premier League game since January 2019. Bournemouth had 12 more attempts than Tottenham. Don't care.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the header that Vicario saved from the corner, I can't remember.
No, there was a lot of moments. Like they flashed a few
No,
wides.
Solanke had a couple of bad misses. On another day, I mean, the guy scored quite a few goals this season. On another day, he's probably got to score. I mean, he didn't. Yeah, he missed the target on a couple of them.
Yeah.
I like this one.
But you know what? I also think that
I feel that they were like. I think our XG for all of that. Our XG was much higher than this.
2.32 against 1.68.
2.32 to us. So that's what I'm saying. Our bigger chances are better. Our
were
chances
better.
were clearer.
Yeah.
If you're rounding down and rounding up, it's a 2-all draw.
What we did do was concede. We did concede a lot of whether they made the most of them or not isn't that. But I think also, with those two centre backs, you just have to look at it and go,
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We've just got to get through at the minute, right? And we
through.
did. And they're the informed team, as Everton were when they came to
Yep.
us. And, we've knocked them both down a peg
Yep.
with half our team. So, fair play.
I like this one. Giovanni Lo Celso has been involved in 4 goals across his last 7 Premier League appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists, as many as in his first 58 games. Well, we said 5 weeks ago, let's give him a run of games and we might get some output, and we have. Gary, I want to take you back, just a little section we want to do on this. Take me back to the first goal and something you heard on Match of the Day.
Yeah. Do you know what? You have things as anybody, right? But there's certain triggers in your head, right? And I was sort of half watching Match of the Day too. I don't normally watch Match of the Day, but when Spurs win and Arsenal lose, how can you not? So
Same kickoff time.
Same kickoff time, yeah. So I was watching Match of the Day, and the commentator, when Sarr scored the goal, he went back. He said, and he said he had Johnson to the right of him, and he used him by not using him. And for most Spurs fans of a certain age, that will be a trigger because you've heard that before.
Explain it.
So the 1991 FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal, Barry Davies commentating. He was on fire that day. Barry
Spurs
Davies.
fan, by the way. Barry
Is
Davies.
he actually?
Yeah.
He was on absolute fire, and he came up with. Somebody said 3 pieces of commentary, but I don't remember the.
We've got that.
I don't remember the commentary for the second goal, but certainly for me, 2 pieces of commentary from that game stand out. One will be embedded in every Spurs fan's mind. That's Gazza's free kick. Is he going to have a crack? He is, But the other was Lineker's goal, where Lineker's going through, and Barry Davies says he's got Samways up with him. He's used him by not using him. Shoots. Oh, what a goal! Yeah. Or words to that effect.
Yeah.
But he uses him by not using him.
So I spoke to Mark Scott, the commentator, on the game on Sunday, and he said, I did it, quoting him, he said, I did it for a reason. It was embedded in my brain, and it was Spurs related, and it worked.
It worked.
So it was spot on. So we put on our socials.
Maybe please know it's been picked up then, because it really did.
He was really pleased, by the way, that people had noticed it.
Yeah.
well, that you had.
Well, Gary, actually funny enough,
Other people were
a couple of my
definitely-
WhatsApp groups had mentioned,
It was really nice. On what had been a really good day, I actually watched it the next morning to be fair, but what had been a really good day, to have that as a lovely bit of memory come back as well, just sort of brought it all together nicely.
So we asked on social media for your favourite Spurs commentary lines, and we'll just rattle through a few here in no particular order. That's not it. That's not it either. Right, it's a good place to start. Sheffield United at home this season. We talked to Rob Daly about this. The Kulusevski goal. Spurs are up. The crowd are up. And then Kulusevski buries it. That's from Lee Fletcher on Twitter.
That's a great piece of commentary.
Yeah, really great piece of commentary. Jersey Spurs on Twitter. I'm going to keep saying Twitter. I'm not saying X. Lineker uses him by not using him. Obviously, a classic Spurs commentary, which you've said. Lionel Messi at Paxton Road Lee. Yeah, hi Lee, finally got you to listen to this pod. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Lee. Lee boy.
Only one for this. The great Barry Davies was what you said, Gary. Is Gascoigne going to have a crack? As you know, I say brilliant. That is schoolboy's own stuff. Classic game from the 1991 semi-final. Were you born then, Jake?
Just about.
Pipey at Pipey78.
You're very good to me, Johnny. You take years off my life. You do.
Oh, he's got a really good.
Yeah, well, 4 against 3 now for Tottenham, and Hoddle's going through on his own. That was my first ever game at White Hart Lane, April '87 against Oxford. And still Ricky Villa, the FA Cup final against Man City.
Yeah.
Do you remember we watched that?
Ricky Villa.
We watched that that final a few years ago before Barnes. We went to
it was a number of years ago.
A long time ago.
It was at your dad's
our old place,
yeah,
our old house.
And
we reckon within the first 25 minutes there'd been 6 red cards. It was a blob, but none of them were yellows.
No, just got on with it.
Just got on with it.
Different times.
He's gone with the Gascoigne free kick against Arsenal. They're slipping, they're sliding.
Brilliant.
I actually have to embarrassingly admit I wasn't sure that was Ajax.
No, that was Ajax. Yeah, they're slipping, they're sliding.
And he saved it. Spurs have won it, being Tony Parks in the '84 final against Anderlecht. There's a great piece of commentary from Darren Fletcher in that Ajax game. Oh, they've won it, and then Jenas basically in tears, choking up. Ben Leverson. Okay, 7th of February 1993. They're queuing up for goals. Sheringham.
This was Southampton after they'd gone 2-up.
1 up. We scored 4 goals in 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and I have to say that was all down to me. I was sat with Ben at that game. He was only young, Ben.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
No, he was holding. No, it's all down to me. It's a bit like when me and our other friend Simon swapped places in the Champions League final when Arsenal lost to Barcelona. That was down to us because we swapped seats, and Barcelona went on and won.
Thank God, because otherwise Campbell would have scored the winning goal.
Yeah. I was sat watching that game with Ben at the game, and he was holding this little Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse, and we were 1-0 down. I said, "That's bad luck. Give it to me." And I was holding it, and we scored 4 goals in 4 minutes and 44 seconds against Southampton. Ended up winning 4-2. Lemon Noggin, good name, is Gascoigne going to have a crack, of course. Ollie Spiro, all 3 Barry Davies in these semi-finals.
So what's the second one then? So I've got the first
Schoolboy's own stuff. That was the touch that did it there. The second, was it our first goal? God, he's going to kill me here. No, Gaz is the equaliser. And then,
what are you talking about? We went 1-0 up. We went 2-0 up, 2-1.
Yeah, Gaz is the first goal. Sorry, and the second goal was Lineker stabbing.
5 minutes later,
there's a
Allen and Gaza.
There's a passage of play down the wing.
Paul Allen and Gaza interplay.
Gaza almost overruns the ball and just touches it onto Allen, and Allen crosses it. Yeah, and that's the pass that did it there. Yeah, and then obviously using him by not using him. And don't forget the last line about it being the dress rehearsal where there'll only be one team returning and they're wearing white. I remember coming out of that game singing, first football song I remember, singing to the Arsenal fans, "You've lost that double feeling," because they were going for the double.
Sing it?
No. Lord Bibbles is Gascoigne going to have a crack.
There's a theme here.
Well, a new one, Matt at NC_.
Now this, I contest.
What's this?
Because, this is West Ham 4-3, okay? And what ruins this for me...
They go, "Oh, no."
Well, I think it was Martin Tyler.
No, it's Alan Parry.
So I was actually listening to Martin Tyler commentary goals against us. He never sounded pretty...
It doesn't...
Anyway.
Doesn't it depend where you're watching?
Yeah, but this, I know what Gary's saying, is Alan Parry.
Yeah, so anyway, we've gone through. And Alan Parry actually went... "Oh no!"
Not no, yes, lads. That's weird thinking. Yes, yeah. He was going, "Oh no."
He went, "Oh no!" Yeah, and that was the commentary to that goal.
Yeah,
we're going nuts. But
because West Ham were, and there's that they cut to Kirbishley, and he throws that water bottle up in the air because they were on the brink of relegation.
But why did he say, "Oh no"?
Because West Ham had just got back in to make it 3-3.
Because he's a West Ham fan.
No, he's a Wickham fan.
No, he's not. But...
I think Zamora had scored to make it 3-3. And him and probably Andy Gray were talking, "Oh, it's a big point for West Ham," and blah, blah, blah. And we caught them on the break, and I don't know, they had a West Ham hat on at that point.
An odd reaction for any commentator.
And then this, save this till last. It's not commentary.
But it's legendary.
At Nicky T61, Arsenal were brutalised by that Tottenham fan base, which is
folklore.
Punditry, not commentary. Explain.
Oh, this was the 3-0. Conte sort of at the height at the height. And to be fair, that was one of the few North London derbies we all knew we were going to do him that night. We all knew it, and the ground was absolutely
jumping.
It really was electric. And then I think it was against Newcastle. Neville came up with. He said, "I was at that game." He said, "And Arsenal are going to face a similar atmosphere tonight, and they're going to have to man up and be better because Arsenal were brutalised by that Tottenham fan base." Words that will resonate forever.
A couple more that we don't.
I sometimes forget, based on some of the stuff I hear and read these days, that Arsenal only finished ahead of us once in the last
8 years.
8 years.
But when you hear the noise from their fans, it is easy to forget that.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. A couple more that we haven't got on the screen.
You also forget that they bottled it.
I never forget that.
I don't forget that.
Well, no, I mean we don't forget that. But let's just remind people they bottled it when we finished fourth and they finished fifth. They bottled it last season, and they were top on Christmas Day, and now they're fourth.
I actually think they bottled the Leicester title as well.
They did.
They were top.
They were top on Christmas and
they've got away with it all this. You finished third in a 2-horse race.
They carry on bottling it.
Anyway, a couple more on Twitter that we haven't got on the screens. This is Sammy. Always love sharing him. That's a picture, an absolute picture when he scored against Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final. I remember that. Used to get on the. Used to put it on the big screen.
I've got one in my head, and it was.
Well, I'm going to ask you yours in a minute.
Okay.
I've just got one more from a listener.
Okay.
Far more important than you.
Absolutely.
Adam Margolis on Twitter. Jonathan Pearce, capital gold sport. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
And you were at this game when Klinsmann scored the winner at Anfield in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. It's an away day, heyday for Jurgen the German. The Pool are not so cool anymore.
Never heard that. No. I've never heard that commentary, but I like it a lot.
So favourites for you, Gaz?
Well, no, my favourites with the Barry Davies one, they're slipping, they're sliding. The Sheffield United, Rob Daly's definitely up there as well. But I have in my head another Jonathan Pearce one on it wasn't TalkSport. Capital Gold.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And I'd love somebody to be able to tell me what game this was. I think I know, but I'm not sure. And Klinsmann has scored, and he goes, "Jurgen Klinsmann, son of a baker, has put the icing on the cake." And
son of a German baker.
It was words that
you thought it might be Watford away in the League Cup, which I have to tell you, I went to that game aged 13. We won 6-3, and I remember my dad.
It might be that game. It could well be that game.
My dad let me go in the away end on my own.
Tommy Mooney was playing for Watford.
Tommy Mooney, yeah. We won 6-3. I wouldn't let my son go in the away end at 13.
Very good. I couldn't tell you a single
94-95 that was my first Tottenham season.
Oh,
so you had your Panini
and
all of that.
Oh, yeah, I just think I'm talking about the season review video. Yeah, but I had that as well.
So it sounds like it could have been that game because 6-3, icing on the cake. Did he score the last goal?
Oh, probably.
Well, if anybody else remembers that commentary from Jonathan Pearce, Jurgen Klinsmann, son of a baker, has put the icing on the cake, let us know because I remember the commentary, but I can't remember the game.
Jake?
I'm going to look it up now.
No, but your anything?
I've got a couple. One, Rob Daly when Kane got the record. The record
that was
goal.
Nice.
That was fantastic. He was there. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was there. He was there with. I think he was there with Clyde.
That was his favourite one as well. Actually, above. Rob said that was his favourite one. Above even the slipping, the slide. Not the slipping, the sliding. Spurs are up. The crowd are up.
And I remember from that Klinsmann's first goal. I think the one
Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday. And he said something like it was Ian Dark, I think, on the one that I've seen. They joke about the diving, but that one is purely legitimate or something.
Oh, nice!
Very nice.
That's really nice.
Nice.
Okay. And he dives, and Barmby dives, and Sheringham dives.
Yeah.
And what I loved about that is they then did it all again for his first goal at White Hart Lane,
which was the scissor kick.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Great. I love the little trip down memory lane.
But also that celebration was just so good because he'd been rinsed for it, for obviously actually diving, and he's gone, you know what, I don't care.
He owned it.
He owned it, absolutely. So, a bit like when Rooney, when he got knocked out.
He punched him.
Somebody punched him and he got knocked out at home, and then he just went...
So if you've got any that we've not mentioned, your favourite, or even if we have mentioned them, your favourite Spurs commentary, let us know in the YouTube comments and we will bring them up next time. Gents, so I don't get a parking ticket outside. We're going to wrap up soon. Quick nod to Burnley. I'm going the four of us to fuck it. That's it. We'll go, and the four of us will go, which will be nice. Quite a nice home tie. You don't really want a Premier League team, but Burnley, I think it was Jake said last week, they've got Luton next. They've got Sander Berg will be suspended. So company will have to make changes. You expect to see some youth team players?
I hope so.
I think we probably would have seen Belize.
He demands it.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, at the same time, it's an important game. We need to win it. We want to have a good cup run. We ideally want to win the cup, right? So we can't take it lightly. But I'm sure Burnley will make changes. I'm sure it'll be a weakened Burnley team. Even if it's not, I'd like to think that we could afford to make changes. We certainly can't afford to lose any more before United.
Benton could play again, get some more minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
I think, yeah.
100%. But I'd like to see Donnelly. I'd like to see Dorrington or Phillips, one or the other, or both. But we've got to take it seriously and actually go and beat them.
Who's going to play on the left? Not only against Burnley, but against United. Who plays from?
Well, I think
does he
Johnson
stick
will go to
across?
the left, Kulusevski will go to the right, and you would have Lo Celso, I'd imagine, in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Sar's gone now, so you've got
Well,
Benson,
Sar's gone.
and
We'll
Skip.
Hoiberg.
Well, this is. I wonder if he'll.
Hill's not starting. He might start against Burnley.
He actually probably will start against Burnley on the left.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he goes, actually, if I play Hill out on the left, I can play Johnson on the right, I can play Kulusevski through the middle, and then you can play Bentancur and Bissouma.
No, he's not here.
Bissouma's not here.
Sorry, Bentancur and Hoiberg.
I'd just get Donnelly in.
He just wants to play anywhere. Donnelly in goal. Forster might
Well, I missed
play.
someone. Oh no, because he's got Lo Celso as well. So then so then he can play Bentancur and Lo Celso behind Kulusevski, and then he can play Johnson on the right. So everyone's in their best position, and then you've just got either Hill or.
Do you think Bentancur and Celso gives us enough protection?
Yeah, I think Benson
Yeah.
can and will be a 6 or
And
an
Lo
8.
Celso can tackle and he's decent.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be our best. That would be probably our best team on paper. It's whether he wants to. Yeah.
Look, it's all positive. This time last year, we just lost at home to Villa and it all started to fall apart from there. That's not going to happen, is it?
Nope.
This way, no way, no
Absolutely
way.
not.
6
Absolutely
points off top, right? We are 6 points off top with half our team decimated. You've got to think, get the players back, get them fit, a couple of signings in January. I'm not saying we can, but
Oh, here we go.
could we?
Could we?
Could we finish fifth? Yes.
Not. Got to get through. Got to get through Jan. January's going to be interesting for a whole load of teams. Salah missing. Obviously, they play Arsenal twice without Salah.
How many players are coming back from the various tournaments to us injured?
Oh, stop it.
All of them.
know.
No, I'd look. January's very interesting.
What I do
with
like
this.
the look of, and what I like to think though, is that we do well. We do very badly not to finish at least fifth now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Clip that up.
But that all of a sudden then puts us into the mix for the top four. And I didn't. I fancied us from the beginning of the season to be in the mix, but I always had us down to finish fifth. I think we're with a great shout.
I think we're in a great shout because I think Villa will fall away.
I totally agree because they're going to go for it, aren't they? In the Euro.
Well, it's a Conference League.
Conference League.
Even then, I just don't. They scraped past. I know we've scraped past a few, but they got a last-minute penalty against.
Penalty. Anyway.
Yeah, wasn't a penalty, was it?
No.
Against Burnley, which
And nor was Liverpool's last night.
no.
Also, where are we at with the fifth place and Champions League?
Still don't know. We're gonna
When will we know? How does that?
April, I think.
It's all. So it's basically that's when the coefficients will be released, and United and Newcastle going out.
It's not a positive,
No, but no one really knows.
Liverpool, West Ham, and Villa will go deep in their competitions,
Right, I see.
and that will help.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't want Arsenal going deep. I'm happy for them to get to the final as long as they lose it, but
Yeah.
I don't want them
No.
going
They finish
far.
sixth.
They just lose every game.
But then get to
please.
the final and finish sixth. That's fine.
As long as they lose the final. Okay, prediction for Burnley.
I think we win.
Yeah,
Score, Jake.
3-1.
I'll go 3-0.
I was going to say 3-1.
Clean sheet.
I'll say 2-0 just to be different. Yeah, I think we'll win. Okay, we done?
Clean sheet. Ash Phillips, masterclass, Baresi-like at the back, and Gary dancing into the studio next week.
Any other business?
I think so. So when we're back, what we got, we're looking forward to United. Hopefully we made a signing.
Is this
Ideally
a
two.
new section of the podcast? Any other business?
And, yeah. No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we're done.
Okay. Thank you, gents.
Remind
you.
everyone again of how to vote for us.
Oh, yeah.
Such a professional.
Well,
This thing, Sports Podcast Award 2024 finalists, Best Team Podcast, an Echo of Glory into the final 12. Link is on our Twitter page at EOGTHFC. Find it, vote for us. Like I said, tell everybody you know. And you'll be back next week?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. All right. We'll see you next week. And up the Spurs.